Trump's first criminal trial is quickly approaching. Trump today admitting the quiet part out loud about his strategy in the New York hush money case, and frankly, in all of his cases.
We want delays. Obviously, I'm running for election.
The New York case stems from Trump's payments to a porn star. And today, a judge refused Trump's effort to toss the case, setting a date for the trial to begin on March 25th, which, of course, is right in the middle of the election calendar, just a few weeks after Super Tuesday. According to the judge, the case could take about 6 weeks. So if Trump is convicted, that would happen possibly in May, right when Trump's classified documents trial, as of now, is set to begin.
It's a rigged state. It's a rigged city. It's a shame. What they ought to do is go out and take care of the violent crime and the migrant crime that's destroying people and killing people. Not a case that everybody says, you take a look at the legal...
Well, if Trump says it wasn't a crime, it must be true, right?
Everything that I've heard and read, even from legal scholars, said there's absolutely no case here. It's not a crime.
It's not like he was on record lying more than 100 times just last fall and is on par to break that record this year.
Up and I said, wow, she's
so there we go. So this is part of the issue here. So Donald Trump saying that he won New Hampshire not only in previous primaries, but that he won New Hampshire in the general election is not true. Donald Trump did, to his credit, in 2016 win the New Hampshire Republican primary. He did in 2020 win the New Hampshire Republican primary, but both in 2016, when he was competing against Hillary Clinton in the general election, he narrowly lost New Hampshire in the general election. And then in 2020, when he was competing against Joe Biden in the general election, he lost New Hampshire by a good, fair chunk of vote. So the former president has opened his remarks tonight once again by proclaiming falsehoods about previous elections. This is what makes it hard to take his pronouncements live. We'll try again, though.
Worked on that. That's what I was doing.
We're listening to former President speaking there alongside two of his attorneys, at least one of them who was in the room making that argument earlier with that 3-judge panel. Of course, a few fact checks and reality statements on what you're hearing there. There is no evidence of voter fraud. Many of courts have found that there has never been any evidence of it that Trump has been able to bring, despite what he is continuing to say there.
History was made when a New York judge set a trial date for the first ever criminal trial against a former president. Jury selection will start March 25th, and it's expected to last 6 weeks. Trump held his usual press conference after the hearing in which he complained about being a victim, but he sounded tired to me. Maybe all of his cases are finally catching up to him.
People are given $7,000 subsidies. I didn't need this. I had a very nice life. Nice Saturday afternoon. I could tell you if I weren't doing this, where I would have been in a very nice location. The danger from within is far greater, in my opinion, than the danger on the outside of our country. That's danger, but this is serious. The fascists, the communists, the serious socialists. I hear that they like Obama better. They should like Obama better. You know why? Because he didn't ask for anything. We were like the stupid country of the world, and we're not going to be the stupid country of the world any longer. We're not going to be. Got bad under this guy. So he now wants to send them $50, $60 billion. I know all about the marbles. I can tell you every marble. But these beautiful columns that are...
Inside the courtroom, observers noticed he was quiet and was often staring into space. Even his lawyers acted more professional. Trump, the criminal defendant, acts very different than Trump, the civil defendant, or even Trump, the politician. Trump's argument outside the courtroom will be a main theme of his defense inside the courtroom, that he made 3 hush money payments, 1 to a doorman and 2 payments to separate porn stars because the stories were personally embarrassing. And that's why he didn't want them printed. Sure, in any other time than weeks before a presidential election, this story makes sense. But when you are running to hold the most powerful position in the world, these stories aren't just embarrassing. They themselves have power. Paying someone to get rid of them Incidentally, we have laws against that. Here, Alvin Bragg and his team will have to prove that Trump falsified business records when he invoiced and paid Michael Cohen for legal services, even though it was really a reimbursement of these hush money payments. If you remember, Michael Cohen has already served time in relation to
No delays, no throwing it out. Judges said it's going ahead on March 25th. You're a key witness. So are you ready to once again be in the same room with Trump and to testify?
Yeah, I had no problem the last time at the New York Attorney General's case of being in the same room as Donald. I'm not the only one who has said this. I felt nothing. There's no intimidation by him. He's the one that's sitting at the defendant's desk, not me. I'm just merely a witness and a subpoenaed witness. So I will be there because I'm under subpoena.
Right. But not because you want to or you're eager to just go in. You're going because you have to.
Nobody wants to do this. This isn't fun. Look at, for example, with Fani Willis today. They get personal. They get nasty. And I expect mine to be as nasty, if not nastier, than the questions that were thrown at Fani Willis today.
No. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
Trump doesn't dispute that he reimbursed Cohen for these payments. He just argues essentially that it was a personal reimbursement and not a false business reimbursement. Second, in order for the charge to become a felony, instead of just a misdemeanor, the DA has to show that the falsification was done to commit a crime or conceal a crime. The DA says the crime was a violation of our federal election laws in addition to other laws. Trump says he just happened to pay her off weeks within the election, but it was very unrelated. Try convincing a jury of 12 people of that.
This is not a crime, and when you look at what's going on outside of the streets, where violent crime is at an all-time high.
I also think it's important to applaud where we've been. At the beginning of the pandemic, we saw a skyrocket in crime. All across the country, what we're seeing now, according to the FBI, is a decrease in crime, right? Violent crime has decreased 8% nationwide. Property crime has decreased 6.3%. In Chicago, fatal shootings have decreased 16%. Homicides have decreased 13%.
Trump isn't occupied on this case. I know it's hard to keep up by his, as Mike Pence calls them, gaggle of crackpot lawyers.
The president specifically asked me, and his gaggle of crackpot lawyers asked me to literally reject votes, which would have resulted in the issue being turned over to the House of Representatives, and literally chaos would have ensued. So
it seems this case is already going as horribly for him as those prior, and it's only day one. Today ended with the judge reprimanding Trump's lawyers and threatening them with sanctions after a prosecutor alerted the judge that Trump's attorneys had failed to turn over important exhibits during discovery. The judge made it clear that he would not tolerate such behavior. Sound familiar?
This is I think it's a very sad day for America. But anyway, this is a case that should have never been brought, and it's a case that should be immediately dismissed. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You have a right to hire a lawyer who can stand up and say something when they see something wrong. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at, and I've had a judge who is unhinged slamming a table. Let me be very clear. I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it here.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.